Last summer, a friend of mine went on a test of courage with 4 people from his college club, so 5 people total. The place was a 5-story abandoned hospital in Ohio. Apparently, it is a pretty famous haunted spot locally. The group consisted of 3 guys and 2 girls. And one of the girls was the type who always bragged about having a natural 6th sense. But it seems no one really believed her. Ohio was supposed to be quite far from New York City, so they left around 10 p.m. They arrived in Ohio at midnight. From there, it was about a 20-minute drive to the destination. On the way to the hospital, that psychic girl started saying she had a bad feeling, that they should turn back, and that it was definitely dangerous. Once they got close enough to see the hospital, she supposedly started screaming at the top of her lungs, saying, "No, it's scary, it's scary, it's scary." Since there was no other choice, they decided to drop her off at a 7-Eleven they had passed on the way. So the car turned back down the road they came from. When they arrived at the 7-Eleven, a taxi happened to be parked there, and she apparently took it home. My friend and the others were getting a bit scared too. But since they had come all this way, they decided to go to the abandoned hospital anyway. Because they lost time, it was around 1 a.m. by the time they finally reached the hospital. They parked the car near the building, and though they were somewhat terrified, the members immediately started the test of courage. It is unbelievable to a coward like me. But they thoroughly explored the hospital from the 1st floor to the 5th floor. He said the inside was not as messy as he had imagined. However, the 1st and 2nd floors were apparently covered in graffiti. Without any supernatural phenomena occurring, everyone reached the rooftop safely. Relieved, the 4 of them were talking to each other, saying things like, "What is this? How boring. Come out and show yourself." And they rested on the rooftop for a while. One of the guys casually walked over toward the rooftop railing, and that is when he noticed something strange. There is someone down there. Seriously, did you see a ghost or something? Even so, my friend and the others thought he was joking and kept making light of it. But when they all actually looked straight down, there really was someone there. What is more, there were about 3 people. However, they did not feel like ghosts. They looked like an old guy in normal clothes and a heavy-set older woman in a yellow one-piece dress. Instead of entering the hospital, they were just standing blankly near the building. Hey, even when called out to, there was no reaction. Knowing this was not normal, everyone got scared and immediately backed away from the railing. One of the girls started saying, "This is bad. Let's go home." And the rest agreed. But since that old guy and older woman were at the entrance of the hospital, they wondered what to do. For the time being, my friend went back to the railing once more and looked down. Hey, they've increased. The 3 people had somehow multiplied to about 30. Just as before, they did not look like ghosts, and there were old men, old women, and various others. They were still just standing there blankly swarming around. Then my friend noticed something. They are looking. They notice us. They were just standing there, but they were staring intently up at my friend and the others at the railing. The girl started screaming, and it was complete chaos. But since they were too afraid to go down, everyone huddled on the rooftop, shivering until morning. When morning came, those people were gone, so they immediately drove back to New York City. In a later story, according to that psychic girl, the entrance to hell was located there, and furthermore, when they first drove into view of the hospital, she could see countless spirits descending from the sky into the woods next to the hospital through the window, which is why she started screaming. It makes you think she should have told them that first. This is a relatively famous story in Alaska. there is a ruined ghost town that exists separately. In that town, there is a hospital that is also a ruin. That hospital stands all by itself, inside a forest along a road where nothing else exists. When you go there for a test of courage, the first thing you notice is the contradiction in the hospital's location. As previously stated, even though it is along the road, the hospital is inside the forest, and you cannot drive up to the front of the building. That is because the forest has not been cleared out. A hospital that an ambulance cannot even approach. If you visit, you will understand, but it becomes a question of how did they build this hospital? And what kind of hospital was it for? More than 10 years ago, people who were seniors to my girlfriend, a group of 4 consisting of 2 men and 2 women, Alex, Amber, Ben, and Brooke, visited this hospital for a test of courage. The couples holding hands walked around, starting from the upper floors. Without anything particular happening, the 4 of them entered the final floor, the basement. While they were wandering through a few rooms in the basement, Brooke suddenly stopped and said, "One thing. Hey, no matter what happens, you won't let go of my hand, right? You won't leave me behind, right?" "Yeah, it's fine, yeah." "What's wrong?" "Someone is grabbing my leg. I can't move." At that exact moment, Ben shook off her hand, and the 3 of them left Brooke behind and ran away to the car. These 3 were completely terrified and returned home, leaving Brooke all by herself. The next morning, Amber told her parents about last night. Brooke's parents and the homeroom teacher called in Alex and Ben, and along with the police, they headed to the hospital from the night before. Arriving at the hospital, they attempted to go to the basement while explaining the events of last night, but the stairs could not be found. That is right. This hospital never had a basement to begin with. This story apparently appeared in the newspapers at the time as Brooke's missing person case. This is a story from when I was about a middle school student. At the time, 4 of us who were close friends decided to do a test of courage. Let's call the others besides me Alex, Ben, and Chris. It was summer, and since there was a seemingly perfect abandoned hospital right on top of a tunnel in the area, we decided to go there in the middle of the night. It was quite a distance away, but we went by bicycle. So, we arrived in front of the tunnel and climbed the stairs from the side. After pushing through the grass for a while, the abandoned hospital came into view. Just as I was thinking it is still quite a distance away, Alex, with the target right in front of us, said, "Sorry, I absolutely don't want to go in, after all. It feels gross." But the remaining 2 were completely hyped up and said, "It's a waste. We came all this way. We'll go even if it's just us. Isn't it scarier to wait here?" But it was apparently completely impossible for him. "It's fine. You 3 go ahead. I'll wait in front of the tunnel." "Sorry. I mean, are you really going? You should stop." He went as far as saying that the tunnel is also famous as a haunted spot, but that would be better. I had been a little terrified until then, but I said, "I see. Got it. We'll go by ourselves." Realizing that "we" must include me, I decided to follow along. Don't even think about trying to handle it yourselves if something happens. It's better to bring someone later, so run away immediately, Alex said. I was completely finished by those words. After walking for a while longer, we finally arrived in front of it. Oh, it has quite an atmosphere. Ben looked amused, but partly because of what Alex had just told me. I was starting to get very scared. Is anyone there? What a filthy place. Wow, it's falling apart. Chris entered the hospital looking amused. I ended up remembering the scary stories from Stephen King. What are you going to do if someone is there? Stop it. We aren't recording this or anything, so it should be fine. On the first floor, there was nothing of note except for an operating table, so we decided to go up to the second floor. Going up the stairs, a hallway stretched out to the right, and at the very end, the hallway turned to the right. I do not know why, but that spot was unbearably scary and sickening. I felt like I understood Alex's feelings. Enough already. Let's go home. I'm just going to check out that spot and come back. If you're scared, you stay here. Chris snapped, strangely coldly, speaking as if swallowing something down at times. Ben and Chris moved cautiously down the hallway and reached the corner. Ben slowly went face down from his knees, and Chris stared ahead into the hallway and started exhaling strangely. Like a deep breath. Since there was no movement in his body, was he throwing something up? I remember Alex's words. Making excuses to myself that there was nothing I could do, I instinctively ran away. Right now, it felt like that sickening feeling from earlier was spreading through the entire hospital. He sounded like he was trying to throw something up, but nothing was coming out. I heard that groan. It was Ben's voice. Immediately after, strangely clear. Caught. A voice that sounded like a strobe or a tremolo effect had been applied to the audio could be heard. I thought either Ben or Chris had gone crazy, but even now I do not know. I did not want to run. Rather than escaping to avoid being noticed by anyone as much as possible, I just wanted to leave that place. I finally got out of the hospital, ran at full speed, and reached Alex. This is bad. What should we do? Those guys just collapsed there. What should we do? Let's go home by ourselves. Huh? I felt completely let down. There's nothing we can do, even assuming we could see a ghost. What could we do? Hurry up. What if something happens where even we collapse? No, but he was strangely calm at a time like this, and it made too much sense, so I could not argue back. Hey, why are you leaving us behind? Did you get hurt? It was Ben and Chris. They were standing at the top of the stairs, smirking. Are you guys okay? As I tried to approach with a smile, my arm was grabbed by Alex with incredible strength. He was a guy whose eyes were normally wide open, as if he wore eyeliner, but they were wider than usual. Hey, you guys stay there. Let's go home separately. Right now, Alex got onto his bicycle. Hurry, run away, he whispered to me. By the word changing from going home to running away, I grasped the situation. Ben and Chris were shouting something, but we started pedaling our bicycles with all our might. Maybe there is nothing strange about them. I did not feel that sickening sensation either. But even though you ran out of breath running here, those guys weren't tired at all, were they? I mean, isn't it strange timing-wise too? Now that he mentioned it? That was true. I started getting scared again. For now, let's go to the church. In the worst case, we'll have them let us stay today. Alex spoke as if to soothe me, his face completely expressionless the whole time. I burst into tears. Running up the stairs, I stood there. Excuse me, is anyone there? When Alex shouted, a grumpy old guy came out. What time do you think it is? Bringing something troublesome along. What did you damn brats do? Thank goodness. Thank goodness. The person here seemed to be the real deal. Once I explained everything that happened, he said, "It looks like those friends have come as far as the outside. Seeing how they can't enter this far, I guess that's what it means. Sleep here tonight. I can't do anything about that kind of night trial either, and I have no intention of looking into it." That day, I fell asleep crying. I spent the rest of the summer vacation tormented by a strange sense of guilt. I intentionally avoided meeting Ben and Chris. Summer vacation ended, and the new term began. Since I was in the same class as those guys, I had to see them no matter what. Clinging to Alex as I walked to school in the morning, the two of them came up to speak to us. You know that hospital there was a room you were too scared to look at, right? That place is incredibly beautiful. Like a lie. There was only one bed placed there, but it was beautiful enough to lose yourself in. I don't know why, but you should see it before you die. It was like a painting. The two of them spoke happily. Alex said, "Let's stop talking about the hospital," and the two of them looked a bit remorseful. Until the two of them died, the four of us hung out happily like brothers. And in the winter of that year, Chris veered off the course during a marathon and died, crushed by a large stone monument located halfway up the church stairs. It was so large that even an adult would find it utterly impossible to topple. A few years later, Ben returned to his hometown from another state, but without even showing his face at his house, he left a voicemail saying, "I'm home," to his parents and committed suicide. I keep thinking I might be next. And now, it turned into a conversation between Alex and me to go there one more time. Naturally, we were going to go during the day, and I intended to bring exorcism goods. But to give you the result first, we cannot go to the hospital. Personally, I wanted to see that room. Besides, my friends are dead, and somehow I just feel unsatisfied. Or rather, well, maybe the deaths of those two had nothing to do with it. With all that going on, since we are going, let's prepare. So after eating lunch with Alex, I bought things that seemed like they might work by probing around at a Home Depot, and went to Alex's house. Then, since Alex could provide a car, we were talking about going with that. Oh, I hadn't told you. Huh? I went to the room after that. Hey, I got curious after hearing their description. And the church person didn't give me any room to talk after that, right? So I thought I'd do something about it and went during summer vacation. Naturally, I went during the day. I mean, I can't actually see spirits myself. I just know whether it's dangerous or not, based on the atmosphere. So, thinking I would come up with some countermeasure, I went while talking on the phone with Sarah. I didn't know if it would be useful, though. The Sarah that Alex prepared was still an elementary school student at the time. A girl who could see clearly enough to know what kind of person died and how many people died just by passing by an accident scene. It was a confusing relationship where she was a friend of Alex's relative, but she apparently came to Alex's house often along with the relative. One day, when Alex forgot his cell phone and left the house and was late coming back, Alex's mother was saying, "I wonder where he is." Then Sarah said, "He's in a noisy place right now." Oh, did he cut his hair? Also, there's a person with halfway dyed blonde hair. On that day, Alex had gone to karaoke after a haircut and was with me, whose blonde-dyed head was starting to show roots. Since then, Alex consults Sarah whenever something strange happens. The following is Alex's story. When I arrived in front of the hospital while talking on the phone, as expected of the daytime, the atmosphere was much gentler. "I'm going into the hospital now. But will it be okay?" "I don't know. It's not okay. There really isn't a single person. Is this a setup?" I became anxious at Sarah's words, since it was my first time actually entering. After only hearing the story, I went in from the entrance and immediately turned left to proceed down the hallway. The stairs we climbed turned around in the middle, so structurally, would the hallway Alex proceeded down be directly underneath that hallway from that time? When Alex asked if there are still spirits even during the day, she said, "The time of day doesn't matter. Timing is what's important." I understand. It was not like he came to meet anyone particularly. But bracing himself, Alex went up to the second floor. "It's much scarier than I thought." He spoke out loud without addressing anyone. "I wonder what is at the end of that. What did those two suffer from?" Alex walked on while glaring toward the end of the hallway. "There's no one there so far. Why don't you stop? If I take one more step and turn my body to the right, I've reached the point where the room can be seen." "I don't really know. There's probably no one there. But why don't you just go home? Hey, are you listening?" Alex was no longer listening. That room had nothing in it. "Well, I only looked from the entrance, so I don't know. But red paint was smeared all over. I don't know how far into the room it was like that. I just looked for an instant from a distance and came back immediately. As expected, I couldn't go in. Too scary. Impossible. I can't do anything." When I asked Sarah, she said a woman whose height reached the ceiling, with her head slightly tilted and her hair completely disheveled, was standing there. In the back of the room, you see. The moment she tried to turn toward me, I ran away, apparently. I did a bad thing to Sarah, too. She was tormented by nightmares for a while. She said she can hear a clicking voice. Alex finished narrating. I started to get the feeling that he was going to die. At any rate, I destroyed one of the reasons you said you wanted to go. There is no beautiful room there. I mean, it's strange. The fact that a hospital exists in a place like that itself. There are no residences around here other than our housing complex, right? They cleared the mountain just a few decades ago to make it a suburb. The tunnel is the same way, right? At what timing did the hospital, and when did it become a ruin? Who would go all that way to a clinic in a place like that? Alex was becoming excited. Honestly, I don't want to go. So far, nothing has happened to us, and it's fine because I only directly saw a disgusting room. But it's not that I'm very scared of dying. But dying over there is absolutely out of the question. I was becoming unsure of what I wanted to do myself. Oh, strange blonde guy. Sarah came in. Apparently, she really just came right now by chance. You've grown. I mean, you remembered well. The atmosphere softened a bit. Sarah was now a high school student and had become incredibly pop and fashionable. You're trying to go there, aren't you? You should stop. Suddenly becoming serious, she sits down on the bed. We are ordinary. We aren't special or anything. Really just ordinary. We are nobody. Alex was just safe because he happened to miss the timing. I mean, if you bring it back with you, you won't be able to enter the house. You can't stand in the position of the cheerful black character, like in horror movies. You will definitely die immediately. It had a strange persuasiveness. In the end, because Sarah snitched to Alex's mother, the plan fell through, but Alex looked relieved. On that day, the three of us went to the church. We wondered if there was any cooperative human being besides that old guy. I haven't been here long, so I don't know that hospital. But how should I put it? The air around this whole area is bad. Aren't there a lot of strange places inside this housing complex? On that day, the old guy was not there, and a somewhat friendly older sister listened to the story. Just as she said, I could think of several strange spots, and come to think of it, suicides are also quite frequent. We are at a church like this, but things that can be handled according to the manual are rare. It's nothing but irregularities. So, even if you do something too dangerous, Leaving the church, we were walking in front of the elementary school. It was already pitch black, and when I casually looked at the elementary school, a security guard was walking by the windows. The succession of windows breaks. He reached the zone where the fire hydrant is exactly embedded in the wall. No one came out from the opposite side. You saw that just now, didn't you? It's unexpectedly not that scary, is it? It doesn't do anything to you. Sarah smiles at me. I saw a ghost for the first time.